I am absolutely fascinated by Roman history, and we have the largest structure ever built by the Roman Empire right here in Britain, Hadrian's Wall. Hadrian's Wall was built so well you can still see parts of it 2,000 years later today, and that is what I am planning to do. Unfortunately, I couldn't get any time off work, so what I've decided to do is join an ultramarathon whereby I can go the entire distance of the wall in 24 hours. That is, of course, unless I can't do it in 24 hours. The bad news is I'll be disqualified. The good news is I'll get a lift home. So we come here as Legionnaire.
Right, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Liking the rain. Nice pace. Lovely people.
You wearing this the whole time?
Absolutely.
That's crazy. Every Roman mile, there was a mile castle, such as this one here. These mile castles were used for the Romans to control who passed through the wall, allowing them to collect taxes.
Turrets like this one were spaced out 2 between each mile castle. This allowed the soldiers to keep watch over the surrounding countryside.
During the building of the wall, it was decided to build forts. There are 16 forts along the side of the whole wall. These forts meant that more Roman soldiers could be based along the wall, and the frontier could be more effectively controlled. These forts and mile castles were connected by a parallel road that ran behind. In front of the wall, the Romans would place obstacles, such as ankle breaker ditches and other things, but probably not barbed wire. That wasn't invented yet. Today we can only see about 10% of what's left of Hadrian's Wall. Most of the stone has been removed, buried, or destroyed. Whilst I am definitely getting an idea of the length of the wall, what's hard to put in perspective is the height. At its peak, the wall was about 4.5 meters tall, way taller than it is right now. At some points, the wall was up to 3 meters wide. The wall was built as a symbol of Roman power, and it is even claimed that at one point the wall was actually painted white. Can you imagine how intimidating that would be, looking across the countryside? Although we think of the Romans as wearing armour and tunics, the winters in the north of Britain were not to be messed with. Romans had to adapt to this by wearing woolly socks, leggings and sheepskin boots. Luckily for me, starting to rain, waterproofing technology has improved in recent years. Let's go. Right, whilst portaloos can be quite disgusting, we do take modern toilets for granted. However, the toilets in Roman times were actually quite advanced for their age. The best example of these is Housestead's Roman fort. However, saying that, they were shared by 800 men. Ew. The toilets were flushed by a channel that used to run down through the ground. And when it rains heavily, like today, you can even see how those toilets flushed 1800 years ago. Now, the Romans weren't so lucky when it came to wiping their bottom. Now, I just got to use some triple quilted aloe vera toilet roll and it was delightful. The Romans, they used a sponge on the end of a stick. And guess what? They had to share the sponge. When the Romans marched, they used to carry between 30-45 kilograms on their bag. Mine weighs about 10 times less than that, and I already want to throw it away. A fact many people don't know is the Romans are actually responsible for bringing fast food to Britain. In fact, there's an ancient recipe that the Romans used, including minced pork, to create a burger. I wish I had a burger right now. Oh well, I'll make do with my protein shake and weird egg thing. I've just seen Watling Coffee House. I might be on Watling Street, I might not, but the Romans built that. The Romans didn't have fancy torches. When they needed to communicate, they used fire. They would set a signal and send it down the line. So one turret would light the fire, and the next turret would light the fire, go all the way down the wall so they could warn other people.
So, who is this Hadrian and why did he build the wall?
Now that is an excellent question. The Emperor Hadrian came to Britain in AD 122. He was on a tour of the entire Roman Empire. His mission was not to conquer new territory, but to strengthen its existing defences. Now the Roman armies had already tried invading Scotland. They'd even defeated the northern tribes in a few big battles, but they could not control the Scots, who continued to raid further south. Now, it's likely that Hadrian offered construction of the wall himself. As a keen architect, he may well have even designed it. It took soldiers from all 3 legions that were based in Britain, that's 15,000 men, over 6 years to build the wall.
That was so interesting.
Thank you.
Just one more thing, Mr. B.
Yes.
Is that a child's costume you're wearing?
Yes. Yes, it is.